Good morning, children. We are going to study the next chapter, The Enemy, which is the fourth chapter in the Vistas, which is a non-detailed textbook. Now, non-detailed textbook is to be studied with a motive to promote the interest in reading. And this is very interesting story where there are a number of twists to the story. Japan and America are at war. The countries are at war. What about the people? Do they also feel that they are also at war with each other? So this story is a very interesting story written by the Nobel laureate Pearl S. Buck. The story of the enemy highlights how a Japanese doctor saves the life of an American prisoner of war and rises above narrow national prejudices. Now, here, the American prisoner of war is washed ashore, is found there on the shore, and then this doctor who sees this American prisoner of war on the verge of death tries to save him. For him, he is an enemy. For Japanese, Americans are enemies. Now, how does he treat him? Does he kill him or he rescues him? He saves him. He risks his honor, career, position, and life by sheltering a war prisoner of the enemy camp and saving his life. His life is at stake. Even then, he saves the life of an American. The author has beautifully portrayed the conflict in the doctor's mind as a private individual and as a citizen with a sense of national loyalty. As a doctor, he should save the patient. As a human being, he should save another human being. But as a citizen, as a patriot, he should kill his enemy. The doctor is in dilemma. Dr. Sadao is in dilemma. What does he do? Let's see this story. Pearl Seidensticker Buck is very famous writer. She was an American writer and novelist. She had a Chinese name, Sai Jinzu, as she spent her childhood in China, being the daughter of missionaries. She was awarded the Pulitzer Prize in 1932 and the Nobel Prize in Literature in the year 1938. So let's study in detail about her. Pearl Seidensticker Buck was an American writer and novelist. She was also known by her Chinese name, Sai Jinzu. She was born on June 26, 1892 in Hillsborough, West Virginia, and raised in Jinjing in eastern China by her Presbyterian missionary parents. Initially, she was educated by her mother and a Chinese tutor. At the age of 15, she was sent to a boarding school in Shanghai. 2 years later, she entered Randolph-Macon Women's College in Lynchburg, Virginia. She graduated in 1914. In May 1917, she married missionary John L. Buck and although later divorced and remarried, she returned to China and taught English literature in Chinese universities from 1925 to 30. During that time, she briefly resumed studying in the United States at Cornell University, where she took an MA in 1926. As the daughter of missionaries, Buck spent most of her life before 1934 in Zhenjiang, China. After returning to the United States in 1935, she continued writing prolifically and became a prominent advocate of the rights of women and minority groups, and wrote widely on Asian cultures. Her novel, The Good Earth, was a best selling fiction book in the United States in 1931 and 1932 and won the Pulitzer Prize in 1932. In 1938, she was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature. She was the first American woman to win the Nobel Prize for Literature. She died on March 6, 1973 in Danby, Vermont. Now let us see the setting or the background of the story. Here the story takes place on a coastal town of Japan in the year 1941 when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. So America and Japan were at war. A war was going on between America and Japan. Japanese were hostile to the Americans. So for a Japanese, every American was an enemy and ready to kill any American found in their soil. You all know how patriotic are Japanese. And here, this doctor is in dilemma whether to save his patient or kill him or leave him there on the seashore. Now let's try to understand the background of the story. It's a very interesting story. As you go on reading it, you will get engrossed in this story. Now let's understand the background so that you can understand the story in better. By the time Pearl S. Buck published The Enemy in 1942, the United States had officially been at war with Japan for nearly a year. She had won a Pulitzer Prize for her novel The Good Earth and had become the first and for more than half a century the only American woman to be awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature. Buck's Nobel Prize was primarily the result of what the nominating committee deemed a rich and genuine epic description of Chinese peasant life. Indeed, Buck is so associated with novels about Chinese life that many are surprised to discover she was an American citizen born in West Virginia. While The Enemy is another solid addition to a body of work overwhelmingly comprised of depictions of Asian characters, it is also notable for not being about Chinese people or its culture. What makes the story one of her most powerful, if not her absolutely most powerful, work of short fiction is that the story could just as easily have been set in China or Korea or India or Germany or England or America. So this has universal appeal and therefore let it be any country. It can be India and Pakistan or it can be India and China. So it has got universal appeal. So therefore this story is very important because it has got very good moral values to convey. Although written during a specific time about a specific state of international affairs, so that is World War II. The title itself is not specific. So the enemy, it can be any enemy. So it's not specific. So it is not talking only about Japanese or Americans. It is applicable to any other country who are at war. Buck was not just a successful author, but also a tireless activist for multiculturalism who did much to bring about the acceptance of multiracial adoptions in America. Racial discrimination, which is still there in America, we come to know about that once in a while in the newspapers or TV. So here it's in 40s and 50s. So it's during that particular period, mid 20th century, during that time, she has been appealing. And she has been talking about multiculturalism. She is talking about multiracialism. As a result, the deeply committed racists and nationalists who are the protagonists of the story are presented as the enemy only in relation to their counterparts in America. You'll find that here the doctor is also a patriot and his father is a racist. He's looking for very pure one who is there in the race for his son as a bride. Likewise, the American soldier in the story could, without any meaningful change in the wordings, be flipped a 180 degrees to become an injured Japanese soldier who washed ashore on a Hawaii beach and was treated by a white doctor and his wife. Many of her stories and novels are about China. So the background is China because her early childhood was spent in China. So unlike her stories and novels about China, the enemy is not about a particular culture, ethnic group or nationality. In fact, the whole point of the story is that it's not about nationalist racism in Japan. Buck made a very successful career out of revealing a foreign culture to an eager American audience. The Good Earth had already sold 2 million copies by the time she wrote this story. What Buck did in The Enemy not even a year after Pearl Harbor was bombed by Japanese pilots skirted the treacherously thin ice of being deemed unpatriotic because the whole point of the story is that it could just as easily be told using any two countries. It is to reduce the enmity. It is with that intention she had written, and that's why Americans felt that she was unpatriotic. The story could have been about a German doctor and a British soldier during World War I or a French doctor and an Algerian sailor at the height of the French occupation of North Africa. Or for that matter, about a Confederate doctor and a Union Army soldier during the Civil War. Japanese hated Americans and Americans had started hating Japanese because they had bombed Pearl Harbor. And it was during that particular time this story was published in America. And remember, it is to reduce all that, to reduce the enmity. With that intention, she had done all that. Time and place and ethnicity are as distinctly unimportant to the theme of The Enemy as the fact that Buck, notably famous for writing about Chinese people, is here writing about Japanese people. Time and place will not matter. It can happen anywhere, and that to ethnicity. It is not necessarily a particular race or particular community or particular countryman. It can be applicable to anywhere. So that's why, as far as this story is concerned, it has got universal appeal to all the people all over the world. So one has to become humanitarian. So it is with that broad outlook she has written this story. Except that she is not writing about Japanese people. Not really. She is writing about the real enemy. Deeply bigoted and blindly prejudiced citizens, so consumed by their nationalist patriotism that everybody who is not a countryman and many who are is deemed inferior at birth. So those who are not countrymen, those who don't belong to their race, they feel that they are inferior to them. Now let us understand the characters in this story. The most important character or the protagonist is Dr. Sadao Hoki. He is facing the dilemma whether to rescue or save the American prisoner of war or leave him there who is on the verge of death on the seashore. So Dr. Sadao Hoki, who is a Japanese doctor, now he is trained by Americans who have studied in America. He is a Japanese doctor, but he has studied in America. And he is a patriot. The whole story is around Dr. Sadao Hoki. And his wife Hana is also a very important character. Wife of Dr. Sadao. She met him in America. And both of them became friends. And Sadao's father was very conservative. When he ensured that Hana belonged to the pure race, Japanese race, then or Mongolian race, then only he accepted the proposal for his son. So Dr. Sadao's father was much concerned about his son's education. He was a true patriot, very conservative, very traditional. Now Tom is an American prisoner of war, a soldier of US Navy. Now your general, world general, now he did not allow Dr. Sadao to go anywhere else. He was injured. He needed an operation urgently, and therefore Dr. Sadao was kept there. Not only that, Dr. Sadao was pardoned. Though Dr. Sadao had admitted that he had given a shelter to his enemy, General said, yes, I can understand the situation. And he needed him badly. So here we can see selfishness of this general too. An officer, a messenger of the general. Then there are some minor characters. Gardener and old gardener in the house of Dr. Sadao. An officer is also minor character. But again, Imi, Hana's maid servant, we have got importance for these characters also. Though they are minor characters, Imi, the cook and gardener. Because they reflect their patriotism. They are bent upon. They don't want him there. They are against. Though they are servants, they are against. The cook and old cook in the house of Dr. Sadao. Let's see the summary of this story briefly before we proceed in detailed study of this story. Sadao was a Japanese surgeon. He studied in America and returned with Hana, a Japanese girl whom he met in America and married her in Japan and settled down comfortably. While most of the doctors were sent to serve the Japanese army in the World War II, Sadao was allowed to stay home because he was wanted by the old general who was injured. But one night into his uneventful life came an American Navy man, a sailor, shot, wounded and dying. Though unwilling to help his enemy, Sadao took the young soldier into his house and provided him with medical assistance or aid. He was in danger from that moment. Soon his servants left him. Dr. Sadao saw that the soldier was getting well and absolutely all right. Once his patient was no more in need of him, the doctor turned out to be his assassin, conspiring to kill him in his sleep. He informed the general of the American, and the general promised he would send his private assassins to kill the American. Sadao awaited the American's death every morning, but to his gloom the man was still alive, healthier and posing danger to him. At this point, Sadao becomes the real man in him, a true human being who realizes the essential worth of human life and universal brotherhood. He thinks beyond countries and continents and races and wars. He finds no reason to believe that the American is his enemy. Sadao rescues the American, Thus, Sazao rises above narrow prejudices and acts in a truly humanitarian way. Thank you.